Alrighty folks, welcome back to the acoustic guitar build series. In the last episode we got the neck fretboard glued on and the headstock and got it kind of trimmed. So now we're actually going to carve out the neck. So before I do it, the way I like to carve a neck is I kind of work in like 3 different sections. So I'll start here, the actual like playing part of the neck. I'll carve that first, and then I like to carve out the heel second, and then I like to carve out the headstock, get that the thickness. So that's kind of my process for it. So yeah, I'll take you guys along with me. Okay, so to carve this thing out, there's a million ways to do this. What I'm going to use is a draw knife, kind of a smaller one, it's not real big. You could use a belt sander, you can use chisels, files, whatever. But I'm just going to use a straw knife to kind of rough it out, and then we'll go over it with a file and then sandpaper to kind of finalize it. But so I'm just going to take this thing and just literally just start really hogging off material, because right now it's so big and square. I'm not really worried about getting things perfect right now. So, and this thing makes pretty quick work of it, as you can see. And just find which way to carve and just go with it. Okay, so you can see it's taking a pretty good bit of material. I'll try to bring you over here. Pretty good bit off, you know, pretty quickly as well, which is good. So I'm basically just gonna do that and get a very rough neck profile. And then, yeah, I'll bring you guys back when we're getting further along with it. Okay, so I got this neck kind of, you know, roughed out a little bit. It's still pretty rough, you know. This neck in particular is kind of chattering a little bit, and it just happens. But anyway, so I got it kind of to a rough profile with the draw knife. So now I'm going to take a file, like a pretty coarse file, and do pretty much the same thing that I was doing with the draw knife. I'm just going to take this file and just kind of work my way over the whole neck and get the shape a little more defined and get all these little divots and stuff kind of smoothed out. And I carve a neck very much by feel. I've just done enough of them at this point to kind of know when it's right and when it needs some more work. I don't really measure it a whole lot. I'll measure the thicknesses a little bit, but you know, if you're the type of person that, you know, likes to really measure everything and use little templates and stuff, that's great. You can do that. And you know, use any tool you want. This does not matter how you do it. It just, the end result is the only thing that matters. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep carving away on this thing, and then when I get it pretty close to where I want it, then we'll take like 80 grit sandpaper and start kind of really getting it perfect. So I'll come back then. Okay, so I've been filing on the neck here for a little bit. You can see it's starting to get a little smoother, and you can see, you know, all the file marks and stuff. But the shape is coming along pretty nicely. So yeah, so what I'm gonna do now is I just got a big old piece of like 80 grit sandpaper, and I'm just gonna start sanding this with it. Some people will take like a long piece of sandpaper and sort of like go like that. You can do that. What I like to do is just sort of hold it like this and just kind of go back and forth, kind of like this. And you can really smooth it out in a hurry with 80 grit. So like just that little bit there, you can already see how much smoother that's starting to get. So, and that's pretty much it for how I carve this part of the neck. I'll just kind of keep going and refining it until I'm pretty happy with the shape. So yeah, so the next thing we'll do is start to carve the heel. But the first thing I do with the heel is glue on the heel cap. So I'll show you how to do that next. All right, so I got my neck like bolted on there, and I've got my heel cap traced where I want it to be. So I've already got my heel cap made, just a piece of walnut, and I'm gonna glue it on while the neck is bolted on. That just makes it easier. I'll just put like a little bit of super glue right there, and I'll glue this just right on there, and that'll be our heel cap. Okay, so I got the heel cap glued on there, so now we're gonna start shaping this heel. And again, I'm just gonna use the drawing knife, and I'm just gonna start kind of going at it and just, you know, really removing material until I get it roughly where I want it. And then once I do all that with this, then I'll take this thing, this little rolling pin sander, and attach it to my drill, and I can really sand the heel and get it to the right shape that I want. So I'll keep plugging away at this, and I'll come back in just a minute. Okie dokie. So I got the heel pretty much carved out. It still needs some fine sanding and stuff, but you can see the shape is pretty much there, starting to look pretty dang good. So we've got this part pretty much done and the heel done, so now we'll move to the headstock. So I went ahead and drew a line of how thick I want it to be, and this is the mahogany's 1/2 inch plus the headstock, which is like 70 thousandths. So yeah, I'll just take this pretty much to the belt sander, and I'm just going to sand it right down to that line, and that'll give us our headstock thickness. Then I'll probably just drill the tuner holes, and we'll have to make the little transition area right here where the headstock and the neck kind of join each other to make it look smooth. So yeah, we about got this thing knocked out, so let's go ahead and do it. Okay, so so you can see I got the headstock sanded down to thickness, and literally all I did was just like put it down on the belt sander until I got it to the lines. So nothing to that really. Drilled out the tuner holes. I had already placed the tuner holes on my headstock veneer, so I already knew where they were, and I just drilled through it. So pretty much the last thing to do is I drew these little lines. I don't know if you can see it right here at the little transition area. I'm going to take a chisel and kind of chisel out where this line is, and then sand it, and then try to blend that part in the best I can. And then when I do this, this neck will be pretty much fully carved out. So sorry I'm not filming every little piece of this. My cameraman's at work, so but I hope what I'm saying is making sense so far. But anyway, so I'm going to chisel this out and sand it, and then I'll show you the final product. Alright folks, so after several hours of carving and sanding and measuring, this is kind of what we got. Pretty much a finished neck. I mean, you know, still needs to be sanded, you know, with a finer grit, but as far as the shape and everything, you know, it's pretty much done. You can see how nice of a joint it is on the side there. Yeah, real nice joint on both sides. The heel cap is nice and centered there, and the headstock looks nice. This little transition area came out good. Yeah, so as you can see, this actually really looks like a guitar now, which is really, really cool. So the next thing we got to do is pretty much make the bridge, and then this thing will be ready for the finish process. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned.